My name is Donata, this is the Horror Shelf, and in this video series I try to read all of the popular extreme horror books. I have made a little spinning wheel, I put all of them in there. Each video I will spin the wheel, read whatever books the wheel gives me, and then give my full review. With spoilers, I will tell you everything that happens in these disgusting books, and then afterwards I put them in my iceberg chart. After I read all of them, I will have made my own extreme horror books iceberg chart. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope you enjoyed the video. In this video I'm going to be reading 2 extreme horror books, and one of them I loved so much. It was amazing. If you like horror books, if you like extreme horror, if you like books in general, if you like this channel, I don't know, please give this video a like, please subscribe, keep on watching, and I will see you in the clip where I spin the wheel for the first time. So, I'm gonna spin the first book for this episode. If you watched last video, you maybe remember that when I was spinning the wheel, I was saying that I needed a new laptop because the wheel kept crashing. Well, I am filming this on my new laptop. Yay! So, hopefully this time everything will go smoothly and my laptop won't crash when I'm spinning the wheel. I'm gonna spin right now. 3, 2, 1, let's go! Well, that's for sure a title. So I'm gonna be reading Genital Grinder. I wonder what this book is about. Interesting. Oh, Genital Grinder. Oh my. Oh well. And then I will also be spinning for the second book that I will be reading as well while I'm here. Let's go. Let's spin again. Let's see what the wheel gives me for the second book. Why does it keep ending at the same corner of the wheel? Okay, we have The Black Farm by Elias Witherow. I have heard a lot about this book. Everyone seems to be loving this. It seems to be pretty brutal. Let's give it a shot. I'm looking forward to reading this one actually. This was on my want to read list, so that's great. Okay, different scenery. I'm at my boyfriend's place, but I wanted to talk about the first 2 chapters of Genital Grinder. Yeah, let's just say the name is exactly what you would expect the book to be. It's a collection of short stories. I'm not sure yet if they are tied together. I think the 2 first stories are tied together, but not completely sure. First of all, I'm not really a short story type of girly. I get bored by short stories. I don't know. It's just I can't get invested in a story when it's just 30 pages long. Like I don't care about the characters, and then I'm not that interested in reading because it feels like a waste of time. I don't know. That's just my brain's logic, I guess. And already the stories, they are just pure shock value. There's no actual storyline behind it. It's just pure shock, which is funny, I guess, but it's also just, I'm not really invested in this book. But okay, it's fun to read. The first 2 stories. The book starts off with a story about a guy who goes to a bar or a nightclub. There's like police driving around. I don't know if you can hear that. First story is about a guy who goes to a bar or a nightclub because he wants to find a one-night stand, but he goes really late in the evening, so all the hot people have left already, and he goes home with a woman who he thinks is very ugly and fat, and they start doing the deed, and you get a full description of what this guy thinks of her body, which is kind of... I didn't like that. I don't know. Okay? They're having sex. He's just in his mind complaining about how ugly he thinks this woman looks and how ugly her body is and whatever. At one point, she's on top of him, and then suddenly she collapses. She dies on top of him, and she's like bigger and heavier than him. He can't get out of underneath her corpse, so he's like there trapped. Oh, look. Kitty has joined me. Hello. He can't get out. Something erupts from underneath, inside her stomach. Like her stomach splits open and there's a lot of blood. You never get to know why her stomach split open. And that's the first story. And then the second story opens up with 2 guys that are friends, I guess. And they are into the same sick hobbies. And they find this dead woman's body on the street. And I think it's the woman from the first story that they find. And so they take her corpse home, of course, because that's what you would do when you find a corpse on the street. You take it home. They take her body to the basement and then they start doing their fun hobbies with her body, if you know what I mean. Like they just abuse her body basically. And once again, there's a whole spiel about how ugly and fat her body is. And yeah, they just start doing graphic things, abusing her body. And then at one point, one of the guys cuts open her stomach and they take out her bladder, and then he empties his bladder on his face, like, oh, piss everywhere on his face. I don't know. That's the first story. So far it's very deep and intelligent and I'm learning a lot. Which is to be expected from an extreme horror book. The name is living up to the expectations. Let me just put it that way. Let's see if I can make it to the rest of the stories.
Okay. I need to tell you something. Wait, I need to close that drawer. That's gonna drive me insane. One moment. Alright. I'm gonna be very vulnerable here. I'm gonna be so honest. I hope this is a safe space. I trust that you won't judge me. Please don't break up with me for saying this, but I am really hating Genital Grinder, like a lot. It's making me not want to read anything. That's how bad this fucking book is. And honestly, I am willing to give it one more shot. One more shot. I will read one more short story in this book. If I don't like that one short story that I'm gonna read now, I'm just gonna DNF it. I'm just gonna quit reading it, because if not, then this video will never come out, because I will just quit reading as a whole. I'm gonna give it one more time and I will come back to you tomorrow and I will say what I think about it, and I will let you know if I'm gonna DNF, skip fucking Genital Grinder, or if I'm gonna keep reading it. But it's probably gonna be a skip for me. I'm so sorry, but I was planning on not skipping any of the books that I'm gonna read, but honestly, this fucking book is insufferable. I just want to enjoy reading, and this is my video series. This is my channel. I can do what I want. And if you don't like it, then click the video off. I don't know. Talk to you tomorrow. Hi, I'm currently getting ready and I just dyed my hair, so it's very red right now. I know that yesterday I said that I was thinking of not finishing Genital Grinder. I can't believe I'm talking about a book that's called like that while wearing a Hello Kitty sweatshirt and a Shrek headband. But yesterday evening I gave Genital Grinder another shot. Well, I started reading and then I was like, okay, I'm halfway done. Maybe I should just finish it. So I finished the book. I hated every minute of it. I'm so sorry. I really hated it. And the thing is, afterwards I was looking up reviews on Goodreads and there were so many good reviews and I don't understand why. Because I'm sorry, but that book is shit. I mean, it does live up to the name Genital Grinder. There have been some genitals that were grinded, some other parts too. To be honest, it felt like most of the short stories in there felt like kind of the same story. It was this weird creepy guy kidnapping women, torturing them in his basement, like locking women up, chained against the wall and just doing horrendous things to them. And those were like half of the stories. There have been like 2 guys in this whole book that had their dicks cut off, but other than that it was just women being tortured. And then the last story, a Genital Grinder part 2, there was also a guy, like that was one of the guys who got his dick cut off. He got tortured a lot because his dick got cut off, and then he was like, I need to find the people who did this to me and then I'm gonna kill them. But of course he gets killed and his intestines are like falling out and being sucked into the what is it, garbage disposal drain or something. I don't know, I'm not from America. Apparently you guys have a garbage disposal drain in your kitchen. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but his intestines were grinded up in that, so that's fun. Most of the stories, it's just the characters were extremely flat. The gore was all kind of the same and it were all tortured women except for those maybe 2 guys. And the main characters were all just like gross. And then a lot of the horror was also just pus and STDs and just genitalia being described as like pulsating with pus and oozing yellow stuff. I don't fucking know. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. And honestly, I was getting ready. I'm just rambling on about this fucking book. Yeah, it was just boring. There was one story in there that I liked, however, but like the main character was also this creepy ass kid with like this weird ass obsession with women, just fucking creepy, like staring at them, stalking them, I don't know. But there was this one story about this kid who works in a videotheque, like a store where you can rent movies. I can't pronounce the name in English, but he works there and he rents a lot of porn, and he also rents a lot of like shock movies, essentially movies with real life deaths in it, and it's just a compilation of that, and he watches those and he's like kind of obsessed. At some part he starts hallucinating these deaths that happen in the movies that he watches, and then at the end it turns out he wasn't hallucinating, he was the one making the scenes for the movie, like killing people. And there was a death scene in there that was quite cool with his co-worker, who is also a girl who he is obsessed with, of course, and her car breaks down and she's like looking under the hood of the car. The hood of the car is up and she's like in between figuring things out, and he smashes the hood of the car like down on her back multiple times until she dies. So that was kind of a cool death scene, that was pretty original. And there were other death scenes in here that I thought were quite original. Most of it was just raping and torturing and kidnapping women. In A Genital Grinder 2, the guy doing all the kidnapping and torturing and stuff, that was quite original as well. He's like sewing body parts of things, like a dog. He sewed body parts of a dog onto one of the women that he kidnapped, and then he was like sewing other women's vaginas on their bodies and making holes and essentially like creating a woman with 5 vaginas all around her body, which was disgusting. But you see what I mean? It's all about women. I don't know. I just really did not like this one, and also the writing style was just very repetitive. Couldn't care less about those characters in the book. I just really didn't give a fuck. And also, like I said, I'm not a short story person, so I don't know, man. It just wasn't for me. The next book that I'm going to be reading is The Black Farm, and I've been wanting to read that book for a really, really, really long time now, so I'm quite excited about that one, and I hope it's going to be better than Genital Grinder, because that's not my style of extreme horror. I like the torture, and I know I don't mind if it's women that are being tortured, but there was almost no humor in this book. I like a little bit of humor to lighten the load, you know what I mean? Or there also wasn't any meaning or like deeper meaning behind the stories, which is also not necessary. But like, for example, like Heather, which I read in the last episode, also had no meaning, but it was funny as fuck, and all the characters were really like funny, and I was invested in the main character's storyline, so it was such a different experience, and it was also all just gory shit. So, you know, there's a difference between a shit gory book and a good gory book. I think it's a bit lazy. So yeah, that's my review of Genital Grinder. It should be like that sometimes. Okay, a little update. I am 60 pages in The Black Farm. Let me tell you something. I love this book. It's so good. It's so freaking good. I'm loving it. It's such a big difference in quality from Genital Grinder. Oh, it's like a breath of fresh air. And I hope to finish it today, because I am giving myself bed rest today. Because earlier this week I had to go to the doctor because I had pain in my stomach every time I ate, and the doctor gave me medication, and now I can't eat anything that's delicious at all. I just have to eat like plain white bread and soup in hope my stomach issues go away and I don't get like a full-on stomach ulcer. So that's great. This is my day off today. I'm just gonna let myself be in bed and just take it slow, but that does mean that I can read a lot today. So I'm hoping to maybe finish The Black Farm today. That would be great. Yeah, I'm just absolutely loving that book. It's so freaking good. It really is. So let me tell you what happened in the book so far. The book opens with this couple. They had a lot of tragedies in their life, like family members dying or getting really sick or accidents happening. So they decide to commit sewer slide, if you know what I mean, together. And they do. After they do that, you start following the guy, and he wakes up in this other world, and that's the Black Farm. He wakes up and he's captured by this guy without a jaw, and he's dragging him along through the mud on on a chain that's across his neck, and he's dragging him to this big house, locks him up in a room. He's like hanging from a chain to a post, hanging there. He has no idea what is happening. He's like, am I dead? Am I not dead? I don't know what's going on. So he's hanging there, and then suddenly this giant slug, is that what you call it? Like a snail, like a snail without a house, a naked snail, a slutty snail, a slug. This giant slug appears and starts to attack him, and he can't do anything back because his hands are tied up. So he's like, okay, I have to defend myself. So he starts eating the slug until the slug dies and falls off him. And then this guy walks in. His name is Danny, which is such an unserious name for this whole situation. Like, this guy is just called Danny. He walks in. He's like, hi, welcome to the Black Farm. I'm gonna explain to you what happened. The Black Farm is something that came into existence because God had made heaven and the devil had made hell. They didn't know what to do with the people who killed themselves. They were like, okay, it's said that you kill yourself, but you can't go to heaven for killing yourself. It's also quite mean to send you to hell if your life on earth has sucked so bad that you killed yourself. So they made this middle ground, the Black Farm. God just assigned this guy to be the ruler of the Black Farm, and this ruler is called the pig. Then God and the devil kind of forgot about the Black Farm and what was happening there. So the pig, he just completely gone ape shit basically, and he started making these creatures because like God has angels and the devil has little devils, and the pig had nothing. So he started making these creatures, just like humans, but every experiment that he does to make something fails. He has all these failed experiments and they all turn completely evil. Every time someone who has killed themselves enter the Black Farm, these creatures start hunting them and start torturing them and then killing them. And if you die in the Black Farm, you just get reborn again into the Black Farm. And it's like this crazy thing because the sky in the Black Farm is black with dark red slits in it, and it's like dripping some blood-like consistency thing. It's like there's dripping something from the sky and it's dark red. It seems like blood to me, but I don't know. But if you die in the Black Farm, you get reborn into the Black Farm through those slits in the sky. It's crazy. I love it. Now this guy knows what's going on, that he's in the Black Farm, and he gets two choices. So either he can go explore Black Farm, he can just go off and he will get caught by these creatures and get tortured every time, or he can go feed himself to the pig, and if the pig likes his taste, he can go back to Earth. If the pig doesn't like how he tastes, he goes to hell. Our main character is like, I have to find my girlfriend because she also killed herself. She must be somewhere here. I have to find her because she can't do this alone. So he decides to go walk off into the Black Farm, try out his luck, which such a king, following his girlfriend, you go king. But I'm sitting in front of my window and I can look into the windows of the people on the other side of the street, and there's this guy without clothes on doing something. I'm not entirely sure. I was like watching what he was doing. Anyway, he just goes off into the Black Farm, right? As soon as he gets out, he starts being chased by some thing. So he starts running, and he finds this forest, and he starts running into the forest, and then at some point he finds a hole beneath a tree, and he jumps into the hole to hide, and he does so successfully. But there's a kid in the hole, and this kid is like, what the fuck are you doing in my hole? Upon further inspection, he notices that the kid isn't fully human. He has like bulging eyeballs. Yeah, so apparently this kid is pig-born. It's like a child from the pig, and they are also getting chased by these creatures. The pig-born starts telling our main character more about what's going on, and then our main character is like, I have to find my girlfriend. Do you have any idea where she might be? And then the pig-born is like, yeah, and she's probably at Mug's place because he likes pretty things. Our main character starts trying to find Mug. While he's doing so, he runs into this woman who is actually a human, and she also killed herself, and that's why she's here, and she's been there for a long time. And he's like, I have to find my girlfriend. Help me. I think she's at Mug's place. The woman is like, oh, you shouldn't go there because Mug, he's insane. He has like this field of big needles on which he sticks humans on top just to let them die on top of the needles. It's crazy. They're walking and they walk past the sea, and he sees these enormous creatures walking into the sea, and they have this cross on top of their head, and on top of the cross there are humans dangling. These are insanely huge, and she tells him that these are keepers, and they walk through the sea, and then every time a human tries to escape the Black Farm by swimming into the sea and hopefully swimming towards somewhere else, the keepers catch the humans and they stick them on top of the crosses on their heads, and they have to stay there for forever basically, which is also such a cool concept to me. I love that. It's giving Clive Barker. Yeah, insane. She sends him on his way to Mug, and then of course somehow Mug catches them both. They get dragged into his house or cave essentially, and Mug starts R-wording our main character up his booty hole. And then afterwards, he threatens to do the same to this woman. Our main character has to watch, and he's like, I'm not gonna watch, I can't do that, I can't watch, I'm in so much pain. So Muk cuts off his eye, these thingies, what are they called? The things that cover the eyelids. He cuts off his eyelids. English. So he has to watch, and then yeah, that happens, and then our main character passes out, and then after a while he wakes up again and Muk is back, and then Muk saws off our main character's arms and he ties his legs together with like barbed wire, and then he kills the woman basically, and then our main character is left alone in this cage thinking about what he did wrong in his actual life and that he must deserve being here because yeah, he wasn't the greatest boyfriend. He was pretending to be a good boyfriend, but in his mind he actually was quite selfish. He's being like really regretful about that, and he's like, that must be why I'm here and that's why I deserve this, and he's talking out loud in himself. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And then suddenly Muk is there again. He's like, yeah, you should be sorry, bitch. And then Muk wants to feed him something. He's like, you're my slave now, you're my pet, and you need to be alive, so eat this. But it's meat and it's really chewy, and our main character is like, please don't let this be human meat. But he can't chew it because it's too chewy. So then Muk is like, I'm gonna give you new teeth so you can chew this meat. So he pulls out our main character's teeth, all of them, and then he sticks screws in his jaw. So now he has screws for teeth, no arms, and his legs are barbed wired together. It's crazy. Oh, and he also has no eyelid. Obviously, he still can't eat. Then he passes out again. At some point, Muk is like, oh, we are gonna go for a walk because I need to find new humans to torture. Puts a chain around the neck of our main character and just drags him through the forest on his chain while he's looking like that, dying. They go on a little adventure together, I guess, and at some point some of the screws in our main character's jaw are getting loose, so he grabs a bite full of like mud because he's like face down in the mud getting dragged through the wood. He grabs a big chunk of mud, then like rolls it around in his mouth, puts the screws in it, and then swallows it. So the screws are getting stuck in his throat, and then he dies that way. So he's essentially like killing himself to escape Muk, and then he gets reborn again, and that's where I left off. The story is crazy. There's so much creativity in this story. It's insane. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. This is my jam. Hopefully I'm finishing it today. I will let you know if I do. And yeah, stay tuned for more updates. Okay, so a little update on the Black Farm. I am 75% done in this book. I am eating it up. I love it. I love it so much. It's so good. Dare I say this might be my new favorite extreme horror book. Maybe. I just have to see how it ends, because that can be questionable. Not sure yet about ending, but I'll figure that out later. I think where I left off was that our main character, he's called Nick, by the way. I don't know why I never told you. And his girlfriend that he's looking for is called Jess. So Nick escapes Muk and he rebirths somewhere in the shed. And there's an axe there. And it's, I think, like on the cover, he's also holding an axe. I don't know if you can see that. He is gonna use that axe as a weapon to slay the pigborn and other horrible people there. In this shed, he finds out that it's like a part of a little village of sheds, and here he finds two guys, a man and a teenage boy. They tell him that they are planning to build a raft to try to cross the sea and maybe get out of the Black Farm if they can, and that he is welcome to join them. Nick is like, I have to find Jess first. You know, he tells them what happened, and they tell them that they saw Jess in the forest and that she was taken by the hooves of the pig, and it's like this cult of people who unalive themselves, and they are worshipping the pig, and they are trying to breed humans with pigborn and make that like a new thing out of it. So they capture women and they force them to get pregnant by the pigborn, and Jess was caught by them. So they tell Nick where this temple is. He decides to go there and to try to find Jess, and in order to get into the temple he pretends that he wants to join the cult or the religion. I don't know, I think it's more like a cult, but sure. He pretends that he wants to join them, and they welcome him, and he has to do all the trials and stuff. And first he has to meet like the overlord of this cult, who is called Ryder, and Ryder is basically this human that is like incredibly fat. Like in my head he looks like Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars. That's what he looks like in my head. That he's like the overlord of cult, right? And he's like this filthy, disgusting human, and he's actually like eating the woman that our main character has met earlier before and who he was in Muk's cave with. Like she was captured by this cult, and Overlord Ryder is eating her. So that's nice. And yeah, Nick gets sent out with 2 other interns, I guess, and they have to meet the pig in order to get accepted into the cult. So they go into the forest, they go on a little journey, and then finally they arrive there. They meet the pig, which is literally a gigantic pig in a castle, and the pig vomits all over them, and that's like the ritual to get into the cult. Nick survives, and one other intern also survives. They go back to the temple, and on the way back Nick is like, hey, can I maybe view one of these breeding rituals, because you know I proved my worth and I want to see what happens. And then the guy from the temple is like, well, sure, you can watch, but you shouldn't talk, blah blah. So that evening Nick gets to watch the breeding ritual. As he's watching, he sees Jess being taken down to get abused by a pigborn, and as soon as he sees her, he's like completely raging, and he's like, I have to get her out of here. All of the guys from the cult are down there watching that ritual, right? So he goes upstairs, he decides to set Ryder on fire. It's like Jabba the Hutt campfire. But he sets Ryder on fire, and then the whole castle starts burning, and everyone is running around screaming, trying to, you know, save Ryder. So he gets Jess and he escapes, essentially. They do the nasty in the forest, I don't know. And then afterwards, they go back to the little village of sheds, and they find those 2 guys that Nick met before, and they go onto the raft to try and cross the ocean. And like the point where I'm in the book is that they were able to go past the keepers that are in the ocean, that are catching humans that are trying to escape. That's where I left off. So I'm really excited to see if they make it, if they can go back to like the earth or heaven or hell, I don't know. There's one thing that I noticed about this book that I quite like, is that there are some R-wording or grave scenes in here, but you don't get the details, which I really like, because for example in the previous book that I read, Gentle Grinder, you get all the details. It's not pleasant to, like, it's not entertaining to me to read about that, and in this book, like, you know it's happening, but you don't get any details, and I think that's like a breath of fresh air, to be honest. And there's also, like, you get so much of the feelings of our main character, like really like his inner world, and you know how he's feeling, how he's regretful of his past on Earth. And once he finds Jess, he also talks to her about it, like that he has regrets that he treated her in a certain way, and you know there's like character development here, but he's also like slowly turning, the black farmer slowly turning him like not evil, but suddenly he can fight, you know, and he's like merciless. So that's really interesting to, you know, watch unfold. So I really like that there's like quite a lot of depth in this book, and also just the whole concept of the black farm, like middle ground between heaven and hell, but it's basically just hell. It's just so interesting to me. Anyway, I'm really loving it. I only have 25% left, and I'm really eager to finish it because I want to know how it ends. So loving it, eating that shit up. I love it. Okay, please don't mind how greasy I am looking, because I am hair oiling right now. I have like 2 types of oil in my hair right now because hair care. But I finished Black Farm, and let me tell you, I loved it. Because I haven't told you before, I loved that book. I really did. It was awesome. I gave it 5 stars. This might be one of my new favorite horror books. I'm not gonna lie. It was so good. I really want to buy a physical copy of it so I can have it on my shelf and like give it to my friend who also likes horror books so she can read it too. It was so good. I think I left off at the part where Nick and Jess and those 2 guys are out at the sea trying to escape. Well, they didn't manage to escape, of course not. They killed themselves on the boat before the keepers could catch them, so they were both reborn again. When Nick comes back to the Black Farm, he decides to go up the mountain, because there's a big mountain in this island, I guess. There's a blue light and a red light, and they sometimes like flash on top of the mountain. Everyone at the Black Farm is like extremely scared of those lights. They're like, those are the eyes of the world, you can't go there, and no one has gone there before. And Nick is like, well, I need to find some answers and I need to get the hell out of here and save Jess, so I'm gonna go up there. And by the way, I love how much he's like trying to save Jess, like he's doing it all for her and like making it everything up to her, and he's like, oh, I love Jess so much, blah, like yearning for her. I love that. I love a bit of, I don't know, can you call it romance? I'm not sure, but it's so good. Anyway, so he heads up this mountain, and on his way to the mountain he meets a guy, Pudge, and Pudge used to be a weaponsmith, and he made his own shotgun at the Black Farm, so that's like the only weapon there. So Nick convinces him to join him on the way to the top of the mountain, but only because he wants to steal his gun. So somewhere close to the summit, he kills Pudge and steals his gun. When he's at the summit, he passes out because it's like on top of a mountain and it's like extremely cold and snowy, and yeah, he passes out. And then the eyes of the world, they find him and they take him to their cabin and they tie him up in a chair until he wakes up. Turns out the eyes of the world are a guy from heaven and a guy from hell. Not angels, not demons, but people that work there, and they have been turned into human form and they have to watch the black farm to make sure that the pig stays in line and doesn't do anything too outrageous. So that's what they're doing there, and they are reporting to heaven and hell like everything that's happening in the black farm. So they tell him this. They also tell him that the guy from hell is like pure goodness. He's like completely holy. His whole body is like holy, and the guy from hell is everything that's bad compiled into a body, and they can't touch each other because then they would melt like fire and ice. And then Nick comes up with this great idea to kill them. Nick comes up with this great idea: kill the good guy, the guy from heaven, and eat him. He attacks both of them, like he's tied to this chair, but they are having an argument and they have their backs turned to him, and then he's on this chair, like, you know, like smacking his whole self with the chair into their backs, and then one of the guys is like falls into the fireplace because there's a fucking fireplace up there. Like, they are from heaven and hell, but they do need a fireplace for the vibes, I guess. And yeah, he manages to attack them both and like knock them unconscious, and then he ties them both up, and he ties the guy from heaven on top of the table, and the guy from hell is watching. He's making him watch. He proceeds to eat the guy from heaven. And his idea is that if I eat this guy from heaven, then my body will be filled with goodness and holiness, and then if I go to the pig and he eats me, he will send me to Earth because I taste nice. That's his plan for both him and Jess. So he's eating, then afterwards he kills the guy from hell, goes back down the mountain, and then all hell breaks loose because heaven and hell have been informed that these guys were killed, and yeah, they're trying to figure out what to do, but essentially the pig has no one watching over him right now, so he can just go apeshit. So yeah, Nick is going to the pig's farm or castle, temple, whatever the pig is staying at. He meets Danny there, and he tells Danny that he needs to go find Jess for him, and then turns out that Jess was already there because she went to Danny and she was like, I'm staying here, you can't make me go anywhere, so Danny just locked her up there. That's nice of him. They're both at the temple, and then Nick, he still has his shotgun, by the way, and a weapon, so he's like threatening Danny, like, take me to the pig. I helped sever the ties from the pig with the heaven and hell, so he can do whatever he wants now, so you have to grant me this one last wish. I need the pig to eat me and Jess. Then Danny agrees, so he takes them both to the pig, and then before they go in Pig's room, Nick vomits into Jess's mouth so she can have the content of the guy from heaven that he ate. Delicious. Then they step into the mouth of the pig. They get eaten. Pig doesn't like how they taste because, yeah, I don't know, he tries to vomit them out, but they manage to climb into his stomach. They get eaten by the pig, and then they wake up on Earth. And everything is good and fine again. That's that, they are back on Earth, and then the book ends with 5 months later. Nick is like in bed trying to sleep, and out of his window he sees this red and blue light flashing, and that's how the book ends. It was a wild ride, but I loved it so much. Like, everything was unexpected. I loved the whole concept of this black farm, like place for people who commit sewer slide. I don't know if I can get banned on YouTube for saying certain words, so I'm using like the TikTokified versions of those words just in case. There's a lot of work that goes into these videos. I cringe at those words too, but I don't know, I'm just to be cautious. I absolutely love this book. I loved like Nick's yearning for Jess and his whole inner world and how he was changed so much by being at the black farm. I loved the characters. I even liked Danny, even though he was kind of an ass. Like, it was just silly, like just this guy named Danny. And yeah, it was very, very, very gory and violent, but certain topics were just not discussed in detail, like I mentioned before, which was also really nice. It was just such a creative horror book. It was really something different than, you know, the usual horror book. This was a 5-star read for me, definitely. Prepare to get sick of me. Prepare to get fucking sick of me. Okay, so since I finished the Black Farm, let's put both of the books in the iceberg. And I'm sorry for still looking greasy, but it's the same evening, so it is what it is. Just keeping it real. Okay, let's start with Genital Grinder. And I am gonna place Genital Grinder in FBI is on its way. Just because the whole book was kind of sus. First of all, it was really bad and it was mostly just shock value, but you know, there are some cool elements in it, especially in the last part. The last short story was kind of cosmic horror-ish. I don't know, it just wasn't good, man. It just really wasn't. No. FBI is on its way. The thing is, the book just felt wrong, and not in an entertaining way. Not like, ooh, that's so disturbing, but it's fun. It just felt wrong. Also because only 2 victims were male and the rest of it were just women that were kidnapped and locked up in a basement and being tortured and sewn back together and R-worded and whatever. It just felt kind of, it just was very off-putting and not on the same tier as Baby in a Blender, because Baby in a Blender was just, there's literally no need in the world for that book to be there, but Gentle Grinder had like some creative parts to it. I have to give it that. Like, FBI is on its way, and that's where it should be. And then we have The Black Farm, which I think is already obvious where it's gonna go, but it's gonna go in Certified Extreme Horror Bangers, because it was just so good and so creative, and I just haven't read anything with this type of concept before. It was just so, I don't know, so original and really gripping as well. Like, it really wanted to keep on reading, and I even gave it 5 stars. And like, this is an extreme horror book, so 5 stars, that's pretty good. That's really good for me. So yeah, that's a Certified Extreme Horror Banger. I'm sorry, you should all read this book. It's fantastic. Look at this iceberg, it's already coming together so well. We're getting there. I'm loving it. So those were the 2 books that I read for this video. Let me know what you think of them. I really think I absolutely despised Gentle Grinder, and I hope to never have to read that book again. But The Black Farm, however, might be a new favorite. I'm not gonna lie, I really loved it. Have you read this book? What did you think of them? And if so, please let me know in the comments. I'm so curious, especially if you did like Gentle Grinder. Let me know why. There were some parts that I did enjoy, but overall, the book really wasn't for me, but might be for other people. So I'm curious to see what you thought of it. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, it helps me out a lot. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!